basically in one of his little promos when he's trying to sell you all of his like dehydrated food and shit, he's like he kind of does, it's like a political ad at the same time, and I don't know if he's actually getting funding from Trump or the Trump campaign or anything like that prior to any of this, but he's like sucking dick hard for Trump, like not generally for like the elite, and he manages to separate Trump and the elite somehow. There's like all these cognitive dissonance I can't really wrap my head around. But
he
like,
is literally Adam Curtis's hypernormalization as a person.
It's really common for the the conservatives to have that dissonance where they don't acknowledge that Trump is an elite, but like he's draining the swamp of elites. It's really weird.
But the absolute gem of why he says you should vote for Trump is because he said that the liberals under Joe Biden want to basically incite a civil war so that they could then temporarily hand the government over to like the military or something like that, and that then we would hand over like control to the UN. That's what the liberals want, and to stop that you have to vote for my boy Donald Trump. And it was just like, as he's like looking just dead serious into the camera, as there's like all of this like weird fucking like shit like going on behind him, and he's just like, you got to vote for him because the UN's gonna come and take over the America. He's just like, you're fucking mad.
You've got like this kind of music in the background.
Yeah, literally like Halo theme tune vibes.
Did he have the line, Walmart backwards is Mart Law, which means martial law?
Oh my god. That was the vibe. That was the whole vibe of the whole episode we watched. It was this strange mixture of anti-authoritarianism and authoritarianism, hope and nihilism. Just mad. It was just completely incoherent. But the overall conclusion is always nothing can be done. Buy my prepper gear and go and take your family into the woods. That's like literally, that's the overall conclusion is literally
I've got a really nice multivitamin that might interest you.
And I'm sorry to listeners that feel like I harp on about like conspiracy theory shit and like Alex Jones too much, but like the reason that I find it so fascinating is because if I'm honest, like that's kind of how that was my pathway to the left, because like during Alex Jones's like hopeful sections before he gets nihilistic, he's literally all he says is like, we got to take down the elite and all come together, make it a better world, like do all of this stuff that kind of is basically like the leading up to like anti kind of capitalism or anti kind of authoritarian or anti-system.
The first half of
like,
the Tucker Carlson segment.
Exactly, the first half of it. And so like the first half of it is always like, well, yeah, dude, like that's the fucking shit. Like, what is it? And then like just hearing all the crazy shit he says afterwards is always just entertaining. But for me, it was
the second
always
half of the Tucker Carlson segment.
Yeah, but I mean, what I've always been looking for was the actual fucking solid logic and reason to the second half of that fucking question, which actually turns out is fucking Marxism and is actually like, rooted in some theory that has a lot of really smart people behind it. So like, I don't have to listen to people like fucking Alex Jones to actually come to some nihilistic conclusion about it. There is real fucking academic like solutions to a lot of the stuff and feelings that he taps into. And so like, I feel like if we can just reach more of the fuckers that are like me and just show them that the answer isn't that the UN is going to take over if Joe Biden is the fucking president, that we could like have more Marxists, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be great.
Can you imagine if Alex Jones was like, the formula for commodity exchange is A, and then just started going.
Well, we might all have to bow down to President Kanye, in the near future. Free Yeezys for everyone. Fuck yeah. Like, it's like almost like we've stepped into some surrealist universe where that would be entirely possible.
Here's a question I have about this. What do you think Alex Jones' opinion of, make the assumption Kanye West wins, which is not a likely outcome, but what do you think his alignment towards Kanye West would be?
I think it would be support, especially because Kanye came out to support his boy Trump back in, and and Kanye is just as politically discombobulated as Alex Jones,
if not more even.
If not more, like they have the same galaxy brained. Half of it is like anti-authority, half of it is pro-authority. It's deeply nihilistic and deeply pro-capitalism at its core. Like they have the same kind of incoherent political analysis happening.
And you can't tell either of them nothing.
Yeah, I feel like if Trump was faltering, but Kanye by some miracle it started to sort of take off, even though he's too late to sort of register in a bunch of states at this point. Yeah, it's unlikely, but if by some, I think Alex would full-throatedly support Kanye. I think that.
Is there any other kind of Alex Jones support? Does he tacitly support anything?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't do anything in half measures. But I don't know. I don't know how much he's kind of gone down the music Illuminati route, and how much he would have to backtrack on a lot of his older stuff. Actually, so it depends on how far down that kind of rabbit hole he's gone.
But he would easily because that's the thing about conspiracy, because it's like its own fictional like universe spin-off. He could easily be like, Kanye, he left the Illuminati and he like he's a defector.
The narrative.
Yeah, and like, you know, because that was those conspiracies that were going around when Kanye did that big run on stage, and he was like, Jay-Z, call me, don't send your killers after me, and then he was and then he was shown basically with Trump, and then he was hospitalized soon after. And there were loads of like right-wing conspiracy theorists who were like, oh, they fucking get outed Kanye. They took him to the get out brain transplant factory where they replaced his consciousness or whatever, because he was red pilled. Kanye was red pilled and he was dropping the T. Because at the concert, what Kanye was talking about, he basically implied that Google, it was after Trump won, and he was like, Google lied to you. All of these people lied to you. They told you Hillary was going to win, but Trump won. And he was like, it was completely politically incoherent. It started off him talking about how the media lies, which is true. And then it turned into this whole run about him not feeling bad because Jay-Z didn't come to his daughter's birthday party. Like, they're both absolutely the same. Like, I feel like Kanye West is like the rapper version of Alex Jones in that regard. Like, it's like that
and
same,
the rapper version of Trump a little bit.
A little bit too. They're cut from the same cloth.